Now, athletes are used to performing under pressure, but when you're young and starting out in competitive sport, that pressure can sometimes get too much. And that's why a woman from South Gloucestershire has launched a new campaign to raise awareness of young athletes' mental health and the pressures they come under when competing. Andrea from Hambrook, whose children swim competitively, runs the YouTube channel @SwimMum, and she's enlisted the help of industry experts, including Olympic swimmer Jemma Jarvis, who lives in Bath. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in, and we've got Jemma on the line as well. Good morning, Jemma.
Good morning.
Oh, thanks so much for coming on the show. Andrea, to start with you, why was it important to launch this campaign?
Yeah, I think it's just, first of all, something that I had seen as a mum. We had our own personal experience, but also I've just witnessed other athletes, other swimmers, but also other kids across other sports, football and so on, that just all of a sudden get overwhelmed and just are not able to perform to their full potential. So I thought this needs to be looked at. Why are these kids experiencing that, and what can be done about it?
And is that pressure, would you say, that kids put on themselves, or that society puts on them, or the parents put on them, or the coaches put on them? Where's the pressure coming from?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a combination of all of those things. So when we speak to one of our forensic psychiatrists that took part in the documentary, she said that the average teenager who's just sat at home on the internet, on their phone, is already stressed out. So then you add to that the pressures of getting up early in the morning, wanting to be picked, working hard, having the disappointments that come along with competitive sports. And she's estimating that these young athletes experience 600 times the stresses of your average teenager.
Wow. Jemma, what's been your experience? How have you coped with the pressure of competitive sport?
Well, obviously, my career was fairly successful, looking from the outside. But, I mean, at the end of my career, I was actually quite disappointed, which is a bit crazy when you think about it from the outside.
In what way were you disappointed?
So I made 2 Olympic Games, but obviously when you achieve a goal, so making the Olympics, then after that, it's like right on to the next thing. Now I've got to get an Olympic medal. And obviously I was comparing myself to other really talented athletes who were getting medals. So my dream, obviously, at the end, as I went throughout my career, was to win an Olympic medal. And I got pretty close. I was in finals. I thought I was capable. Obviously, coaches would tell me I was capable. Obviously, my family, friends. But I didn't quite make it onto the podium at Olympic Games. And when you get sucked into that bubble, that swimming bubble, that sporting bubble, you do actually become disappointed when, as a young girl, well, a big dream of mine was to make the Olympic Games. And when you're young, swimming PBs, swimming personal best when you're young is, really exciting. But then it just keeps going on to the next thing, and there's always different goals every single day. So for me, I was really nervous as a young athlete, and I think that did carry on throughout my whole career, always putting pressure on myself. So what Andrea's doing here is incredible, because if there is something that could be put in place at a young age when young athletes, young swimmers are starting out, it could make a huge difference in so many ways.
Yeah, Andrea, tell me about the campaign so far, because I know you've brought in people who know a thing or two about this, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely, because I'm just a swim mum. So I've got people like Keith Oddy, who's a safeguarding expert. Dino Nicovelli is a solicitor who's dealt with child abuse within sporting organisations, and a guy who's amazing, Jake Brown, who is a performance psychologist. Lots of people like that. So first of all, we created the documentary that started as a small project and just sort of took off. So in its first week, we've had over 6,000 views. We've got 1,500 subscribers, which is amazing. And I've got everything is just for free. There's a bunch of free resources. So there's an ebook that's got lots of tips and tricks for everybody, including encouraging the collaboration between athletes and school is huge. So there's ways for them to do that. And we've also got some freebies. There's if you show your support for this topic in your club, whichever sporting organisation that is, you can win time with our Olympians and time with our mental health athletes and experts too.
And what's the aim, Andrea, ultimately? What are you hoping to achieve from this?
Yeah, so really the two main things. One is to raise awareness of it, right? To start that conversation in families and in clubs at a grassroots level, to have clubs not wait till something gets mandated by a governing body, but to say, hey, yeah, we think this is important and we've been, these ideas are helpful and these are things that we could put in place. So let's get the conversation going. And the second is to remove the stigma. Interestingly, on some of the social media platforms, I haven't seen lots of likes. So I was amazed when we've had 6,000 views. People don't want to be associated with a mental health problem. People are still afraid to put their hand up and say, yes, that's something I'm interested in or that applies to me. But yet they are very interested in this topic and it's clearly relevant.
And Jemma, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Oh, that's a very good question. And I know what I would say. I would say sport doesn't define you. It's all about having fun every day. Yes, do your best, but what the most important thing is enjoying your sport, getting the best you can out yourself, and just being happy every day. Because at the end result, you're going to be the same person. The result isn't going to define who you are.
Jemma, thank you so much. Andrea, just finally, if people want to find out more about the campaign or follow your YouTube channel, how can they?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on Facebook, we're on all the social media platforms, and I'm at swim-mum on YouTube.
Andrea, thank you so much. Lovely to see you. Andrea Brown from Hambrook in South Gloucestershire, Olympic swimmer Jemma Jarvis. Andrea's launched a new campaign with the support of experts like Jemma to raise awareness of young athletes' mental health and the pressures they come under when competing. You can see some of the videos on Andrea's YouTube channel. It's at Swim Mum.
James Hanson.